Hello you plonkers and welcome back today to another video on the Druzy channel. We're rolling with 9 things again because, you know, Jesse just isn't in the football loop at the moment. So we're running this ship by ourselves to the end of the season. Me and the Plonker Army. Make sure you're in the Plonker Army. The subs have been great recently, so let's try to get to that 9k mark. I reckon we can do that by the end of the year, and then we should be primed for a 10k early next year. If you're not in the Plonker Army, make sure you subscribe and get down in the comments that you have joined the Plonker Army. It's absolutely free, and like the video if you've been enjoying my content this season. We're almost at the end of the year, only the prelims and the granny to go. So there's not much left to talk about except for my team getting eliminated from the finals. But we'll talk about that. Let's just get into it. Here are the 9 things that I learnt from week 2 of the finals. Number 1. Brisbane's speed and ferocity overwhelms the D's. The game started on the D's terms, which it sort of has done for a lot of their losses. They sort of get comfortable and then they can't stop the momentum when it swings back the other way. And I think a massive part of what swung the momentum in this game was Jared Berry in the midfield, going to Clayton Oliver. It's been spoken about all weekend. It's nothing new, but the physicality that he brought really eliminated, or not eliminated, but lessened the impact that Clayton Oliver had around the ground. And obviously he's one of the best in the competition. Pair that with Lachie Neale doing an absolute madness. Lachie Neale just a real big game player. He shows up when it matters. Some of the handballs that he was executing were off the chain. When they had the ball, particularly in the second half, they moved it very quick. And I think a key to victory for them as well was they weren't just drop punting it inside 50. You can see that guys like Stephen May, Petty, and Lever, they can read the play very well. So you don't want to be giving those predictable kicks inside 50. What Brisbane did well is they just hacked it in there. Just make it a bit of a chaos ball, which allows guys like Charlie Cameron in particular to go to work. And then defensively, they just brought the heat. They were physical. They didn't back down for all 4 quarters where in previous encounters they rolled over for the Ds. And that gives the group so much more confidence, having beaten the Ds, a side that they haven't been very good against in recent times. Winning at the MCG, which they haven't done since 2014, I think, and also that finals sort of cloud that's hanging over Brisbane as well. They haven't been able to string multiple wins together in finals since they've been in the finals in the last little bit, I don't think. So it's going to do wonders for the belief of this young Brisbane group. Number 2. D's inconsistency gets found out in September. The D's best this year, I think, has been just about as good as anyone's, but in the second half of the year, they just haven't been able to bring it consistently. When they're off, their ball movement's quite clunky. Their entries inside 50s are big, long kicks inside 50, which don't really work out great when you don't have a big, strong power forward like Tom McDonald. Just a side note, Jacob Van Rooyen got drafted by the D's this year and didn't get to play a game at the AFL level. I think that kid has all the potential in the world, and I think he could have had a massive impact in this game. Just a big-bodied forward that can play at either end. Really could have provided an X factor that the D's didn't have on Friday night. In that second half, again in particular, when Brisbane had the momentum, the D's just looked flustered. They weren't clean with their ball use, couldn't get the fundamentals right, and with Brisbane having all the momentum and using the ball really fast, it was hard for the D's to get a grip of the game and then implement what they wanted to. When there's a question mark over a team, the D's ball movement hasn't been great all year. Their inside 50 entries haven't been great. You're going to get found out eventually, and it happened to be in the semi-finals, the D's, the Premiers, out in straight sets. Number 3, Brisbane's belief could carry them to a grand final. So now Brisbane are going to come up against Geelong in a prelim on Friday night, and I just believe that the hoodoos that I spoke about earlier, not being able to win at the MCG, they've done that. Not being able to knock over the Demons, who have been their bogey side for the last little bit, they've done that. Winning 2 games in finals, they've done that as well. It just relieves that external pressure and anything in the back of any Brisbane player's mind about not being able to win finals at the MCG. What was initially a grey cloud, not being able to play at the MCG, not being able to win big finals, they've released that pressure, and it's now translated to genuine belief because the players have experienced it. They know that they can do it. So a lot of external pressure has now been translated into genuine belief. So I think they have a little bit less pressure on them to perform this week against the Cats, and I'm not necessarily saying they'll win, but the belief that they have now bred, I've said belief about 20 times in the last 20 seconds, but it just gives them a new lease of life. They're off the shackles off the past, and they're looking forward into the future. And when you've got guys like Lachie Neale doing what he does, if you can bring that fast brand of footy, if Hipwood can keep kicking goals and Charlie Cameron can keep being so impactful when he gets the ball, they're every chance to win against the Cats on Friday night. Number 4, Manscaped's Platinum Package is elite. Manscaped have sponsored Druzy all season long. I can't thank them enough for that. letting me do what I love to do and make a little bit of coin on the side. So listen up here, ladies and gentlemen. The Platinum package is their new thing that they're pushing. It basically has everything that we know and love in it. The Lawnmower 4.0, the best electric shaver on the market, tick. The ear and nose hair trimmer, it's in there, tick. But it also comes with everything you need for the bathroom. A 2-in-1 shampoo, conditioner. Get the job done. Don't need to use both, just use one. There's a Platinum deodorant in there and a cologne, so you're all sorted. And if you get the Platinum package right now, they also chuck in a pair of boxes and a travel bag to carry it all in as well. If you use code DRUZY20, all caps, no spaces, at checkout, manscaped.com, using the link in the description, you can get all these goodies for 20% off with free worldwide shipping. It's a great deal. Sort yourself out, lads. The one-stop shop, the Platinum package. Get around it. Number 5, Collingwood too quick, too clean for Freo. The big emphasis for this game for Freo was being able to win the contest, and I think that initial contest wasn't too bad from Freo. The ability to win the contested ball wasn't awful. It was just that next phase of the contest, by leaving the stoppage, the Collingwood players were always the first ones out. Guys like Lipinski, De Goey, Pendlebury, Dacos, they were always the first ones out of the contest, and that just transitioned to wave after wave of attack, which eventually overwhelmed the Dockers. Jack Crisp in the middle also had a massive game. And then off half back, Noble and Nick Dacos, they provided so much run and carry. They're great kicks at the footy as well, so they distributed it very well to get the transition going from defence to attack for the Collingwood boys. And I'm no footy coach, but it was so damaging, the playoff halfback from Collingwood. Feel like we needed Michael Walters, Frederick, Switkowski, Schultz, guys like that to push up and go with the halfbacks, because a lot of the time, Noble, Dacos, they were running free and creating that transition, which was so damaging in the game. Collingwood were clean all night. Freo sort of were a bit fumbly. Some of our younger players, the moment definitely got to them, and Collingwood are used to playing in front of that big crowd as well. So just small differences made for a comfortable Collingwood win in the end. Right, I'm taking off my jacket. It's getting a bit warm, and I think the camera's picking up my jacket more than it is my face. There we go. Now you can see me. Number 6, Collingwood's fairy tale season continues. From 17th to a prelim, with an asterisk next to it, because they could potentially go all the way this year. It's been a dream season for all of you Pie fans. Congratulations. I'm enjoying your success, although you've broke every club's heart just about this year. But there's no weakness in this Collingwood side. Down back, Darcy Moore and Jeremy Howe, as solid as defenders as you can bloody get in the competition. The run-off halfback, as I just mentioned. Guys in the middle, De Goey, Crisp, Pendlebury, just consistent as ever. Josh Dacos running the mark in there. Probably guys that I'm forgetting. And then in the forward line, there's no real standout forward, but just guys that contribute every week, whether it's the defensive pressure or the goals. There seems to be someone popping up for a bag of goals every week. It doesn't really matter who it is, and obviously they're going to probably add Dan McStay to that, so it's going to be a damaging forward line for the Pies. They're in a great position to put themselves in a grand final, and they're going to come up against a Swans outfit who they lost to not too long ago, but they would have taken plenty of learnings from that. It's going to be a completely different game, and I think this is probably the best matchup of the finals. I know there's been some great games in the finals so far, but two young sides, really exciting. Both play a high pressure brand. It's going to be a great game of footy. Number 7, Fremantle's slow start cost us a prelim. Down by 4 goals in the first quarter. We hadn't kicked a goal, and we ended up losing by 20 points. If we just could have capitalised on those early entries, because we did have a fair few inside 50s in that first quarter, just need to capitalise on that, but we didn't. It could have been a whole different game, and obviously I'm not oblivious to the fact that Collingwood missed about 10 shots in a row and could have blown it out, but, it could have been a whole different dynamic if Freo just capitalised a little bit better earlier. Clean forward entries have really been our issue all year, just the forward craft in general, having just targets to hit up and have an accurate set shot kick consistently. That's what we've been lacking this year, and that'll be the clear area of improvement for the Dockers going forward. But with guys like Jai Amos coming through, the future's in good hands. And speaking of the future, number 8. The future is extremely bright for Freo. This Freo list is ridiculously young. Look in the midfield. Sean Darcy, Sarong, Brayshaw. Then you've got guys coming through, Neil Erasmus, Matt Johnson. That's a great midfield just coming through there. Up forward, Michael Frederick, Jai Amos, Josh Tracy coming through. Sam Sturt, who's been finding it pretty hard to get a game, but has so much quality in the twos. Sam Switkowski, Lockie Schultz, these guys are still going to be around for a while. And then down back, it's so solid. Heath Chapman, Hayden Young is already just about an All-Australian level defender. Brennan Cox isn't too old. I'm probably missing dozens of players in this Fremantle side. But for us to come into the top 8 this year after missing out for the last 7 years and win a final, go on to face the Pies at the MCG, and I know we weren't in it to win it at the end, but we did compete for 4 quarters. Just shows how far this young squad has come, and we are in the infancy of this premiership window, if you want to call it that. So the future is so bright for Freo. We 100% should win a premiership with this crop of players. I think we just need to get that forward line right, get that forward mix working well with a strong power forward who can take marks. And then there's no ceiling on what this Freo side can achieve, because the talent in this list is unbelievable. It's the most talented Freo side that's ever been. So the future is bright for my Freo Docker boys. And number 9, David Mundy is immortal. The worst part about this game for me was seeing David Mundy leave the field of play with a loss. Dave Mundy. Ever since I've watched Freo, David Mundy has been there. He's been a constant. Ever since I've been conscious, he's been putting on the purple jumper and playing his heart out every week. Never been dropped from the Freo side. Played 379 odd games for the club. And he's just been such a consistent contributor. You know when you're watching the footy and someone stuffs up and you're like, oh, for God's sake, X, Y, Z. I've never ever said that about David Mundy. He has never let us down, never shirked a tackle, and he's just always played with his heart on his sleeve. As silky as they come, beautiful kick of the football, club legend, will go down in the history books as one of Freo's all-time great players, and it's just so sad that he doesn't get to walk off into the sunset with a premiership medal hanging around his neck. I honestly think he could still play for another 2 years because he still contributes, but he's an unselfish man. He's going to allow guys like Neil Erasmus to come through, Matt Johnson, get more game time under their belts to push us into the future. But Dave Mundy, I love you, sunshine, and all the best with whatever you have after footy. But if you want to come back, we will welcome you with open arms. David Mundy, nevertheless, will be immortalised as a Freo Docker. And there we go. There's 9 things we learnt from 2 games. If you like the video, make sure you drop a like before you click off the video, and subscribe if you're new. Next week, prelims. Season is coming to a close. It's flown by. It's been a great time watching the football this year, and it wouldn't have been the same without every single one of you right now watching this video. So I thank you very much for all the support this year. Still a little bit left to go, and then we'll see what happens from there. Until the next video, I'll see you then. Take care, you plonkers.